Hello everybody, I just got out of a work shift, so I'm tired, and I sparred yesterday, so my mouth hurts. So if I'm talking weird, that's why. It's because my tongue's swollen. But I want to start talking to you guys about the project that I'm doing. Obviously, it's going to be this video, so this intro here is basically just me telling you that I'm doing a project, and you'll see what it is towards the later half of this video. But I will record the process of buying and building the enclosure, and gradually throw in some hints for what's going in there. A lot of you that are more experienced will know, you'll know when you see it. But Saturday, I'll be going to get supplies from the Menards in Bridgeport. So I'll send you guys videos of getting everything ready, talking about what it's gonna be built for, and just all that important stuff. So stay tuned. Yo, what's up guys? So we're officially at Menards. I don't know if any of you guys in Canada or the UK have a Menards, but if you don't, it's kind of similar to an Ace Hardware, but it's like freaking huge. It's Lowe's or Home Depot, but it's way bigger. Like, this place is huge. But yeah, this is where we're gonna get all of our stuff to build the enclosure, and also some other extra stuff we may need just elsewhere. Yeah, as you can see, this place is quite large. Big crate.
Crate?
Big.
Tote.
Okay, so we just loaded up the plywood, and now we're gonna get our 2x4s. We had 4 pieces, well, 4 sheets of plywood, and now we're gonna get 4 2x4x8s, and that'll make the base support for the bottom shelf, which will be what holds up the enclosure. Okay, so we have our storage tote, our 2x4s, and our plywood strapped down and tarped because it's raining. Well, it has been raining. I don't know if it's gonna rain before we get home, but it's been raining. So I have strapped down and tarped, so help keep out the water and help keep it down, to say the least. But with the weight and everything, it should be good. So I'll catch you guys back at the house. Hey ladies and gentlemen, so it's been about a week since we got the plywood and the 2x4s. Today I'm officially going to start working on the wood. It has rained every single day this week, so I haven't been able to really get out here and do a lot, but now I'm going to. It's officially time for me to start. So first things we're gonna do here is I'm going to go around the edges of all the plywood and sand it down, because, you know, obviously while you're working, you don't want to run your fingers on it and get splinters. Then after that, we're gonna paint it, because the reptile we're getting has always been my dream reptile. But we're going to be painting the plywood in my favorite color, which is a dark purple. If anyone knows me, purple is my favorite color. I mean, heck, that even extends to my favorite artist of all time, is Prince. So we're gonna start by sanding down the corners, and then we're gonna paint all the exterior sides. And then I have to move the plywood into the reptile room, because the enclosure is quite large. It's 8 foot by 4 foot, and it's gonna be 6 foot tall on a 2 foot tall platform. So it's gonna be, I'm gonna have to pretty much put the whole thing together inside the reptile room. All of like the sanding and cutting and painting, I'll have to do out here, like exterior painting, of course. But the actual like drilling it together and everything, I'm gonna have to do in the room. I've got a nice heavy duty big tarp that I'm gonna put on the floor. That'll help me out, man, getting, you know, everything set for that. So once I get everything painted and sanded, I'm gonna move everything there and put it together. So I'll record the process of me sanding it and everything. I'm gonna try to do this one more like I did for Gigi's and Barry's enclosures, where instead of me just kind of like freeballing it like I did with Kevin, I'm actually going to record the process, because this is going to be a nice long project. I've been trying to do this project to obtain this animal for 8 years now, and it's finally happening. So I'm just going to take a lot of time in this video to talk to you guys and show you guys. I'm not going to tell you exactly what goes into it until I get what is going to go into it, and then you guys will see it. But for now, we're just going to talk about building this 8x4, 4x6 enclosure, and all the stuff I'm putting inside, and the coloring and the painting and the sanding, and just all the fun stuff that is going to go into making this thing. I'm really excited, guys, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this. at the store shopping for paint.
Okay. Go with the Clark and Kensington. And we're going
to get satin.
Go with satin paint and primer in one. And we're going to have it colored in the dark purple that we want.
Yeah, so it's pretty much going to cover the exterior of each side, and the platform, the exterior of the platform is also going to be the same color. So color we're going with grape popsicle. All right, so we got the paint, and now we're gonna go ahead and sand this plywood. We're gonna sand the exterior. You don't really need to sand the back side or the front side or whatever. So with this here block,
I'm gonna sand the edges off so that we don't get splinters when anybody touches anything.
Yeah. I finally got a tripod so that I can actually record me doing stuff and not just have to hold the camera or just not show you guys. That's one of the best parts. Now I got a tripod. So now I get to sand this big board. I decided to be lazy and just use a belt sander. So. Okay, so I just finished sanding the board. So the next step is going to be painting the board. You guys are gonna see the color of purple that I got for this. I think it'll look pretty cool. I try not to make it too obnoxious, like, you know, an obnoxious purple, because yeah, you still want it to look kind of professional. I mean, who cares at the end of the day? But I mean, that's just how I see things. But the next step is painting. So enjoy watching me paint. Okay, so I have officially painted the board, sanded the board, painted the board. I'm gonna give this a couple layers, and then I have to repeat this for all the other boards. So I'm not gonna record all those, obviously, because, you know, that'll take forever and it'll take up space. But essentially the same thing I just did, I'm gonna do that 4 times on each of these boards. I painted the back piece. I painted the bottom, where the bottom is going to connect to the platform that holds it up. Right now, I'm going to paint the top, which is that big piece right there. And then I'm gonna paint these 2 halves, which will be each side. So pretty much, you're just making it so that it's the back side, but chopped in half just because of the size. So all the sheets are the same size originally. The top, bottom, and back will all have the same dimensions, but the sides will basically just be cut in half. And that'll be the sides. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint those, and we'll move on. So I've painted all of the boards. So now what I'm doing is I'm gonna start working on the platform that these boards are gonna be attached to, because for my enclosure, I'm gonna have it be, the whole thing is one piece. Like, you can't take the enclosure off the base. The base is just connected. So I'm gonna have 2 8-foot long pieces, and then 3 4-foot wide, 4-foot long pieces, and then 6 of these little post pieces. They're gonna go on each corner and 2 in the middle. So that'll have a 6-point base to hold up the enclosure, and that should be good to stabilize it. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my sander to sand all of this down, sand all of it, just to make sure everything's good. And then I'm gonna paint those, and then I will cut out the 3-foot long pieces for the sides, and then I'll paint those as well. Got the bottom leg pieces painted, at least the visible sides. I got those 3 feet pieces, or not 3 feet, 4 feet pieces. And now I'm going to sand and paint the 8-foot pieces, which go front and back. And that'll be what goes underneath that piece right there. That's the bottom piece. And this piece right here is the back piece. All right, so I want to paint that and I'll see you afterwards. All right, so I've painted all sides, all visible parts of each part of the platform. I've sanded all of them. I will probably repaint them a couple times, just depending on which parts need to be painted again. But the next part we will be recording is we're going to put the base together, because we can fit it through the door. The base is about 1 foot and a couple inches tall. We're going to put the base together, and then the rest of it we'll have to put together inside the room. So the next part you'll see will be recording of the building of the base. Okay, so this is the base. We have the length and width perfectly measured. So now all I have to do is drill the base together, and that makes the base of this enclosure. And then, well, the base frame. And then we'll add the supports on the bottom, on each corner and in the middle. And then we'll add 3 strips, also in the middle, to add support for the base of the actual enclosure, which that'll be what holds up the, the weight, the substrate and everything in it, and obviously the thing that's going to go in it. And so that'll be really important to the overall stability of what's actually inside of the enclosure. Okay, so now we're measuring these side pieces. We're gonna have to cut them down a little bit just to make sure the width is exactly right. Because they're just a little bit off because of how long the 2x4s are. Like the 2x4s, they are already 8 foot. That's gonna add a couple of extra inches, so you're gonna have to cut some a little shorter. But yeah, once we get that figured out, then we can start screwing it all together. All right, so there is the frame with the bottom put on. We have to put the feet on next, and then from there we'll move it inside, because the rest will be done in there. So pretty much be the last part that takes place outside. Okay, I may have lied just slightly. So what we're gonna do before we put on the feet, we're gonna attach the substrate lip. We've added a what is that measurement for that?
This?
1x2, said?
Yeah.
We added a 1x2.
They're 2x2.
2x2. It's a 2x2. We're gonna put that in front of the substrate lip because it'll need something to hold it back, and it'll add extra support to just the sides and everything as a whole. So we're adding that first. Just want y'all to know, we're adding that first. And then we'll add the feet. Okay guys, so we have the bottom base on the inside with the lip. It's all painted. And I did something to it, which I'm gonna go ahead and just tell you about it here, because this is important. You wanna do this to the whole thing, at least the whole interior. So now what I'm doing is I'm gonna take the top, back, and bottom. On the interior sides, I'm going to take a couple polyacrylic layers and a layer of Flex Seal sealant. I'm going to cover this 3 times so that it is extra waterproof sealed, because the reptile that is going in this needs a very high, about 80-90% humidity. So you have to make sure that your plywood, your 2x4s, all that are very well sealed and coated, because if they're not, the wood will rot and that will not be good. You just don't want that. So I'm gonna go through the process of sealing this. I'm painting it, I'm not gonna record it, but yeah, I'm gonna do it to both sides, the back piece and the top piece. I just did it to the bottom and the lip and the whole piece that's inside. So yeah, there's that. Also, I just wanted to point out our pond is looking nice today. We just cleaned it up and changed the filter out. As you can see, we got some beautiful goldies in here. Just put a fountain in. It's looking nice. It's looking nice. The summer really just started, so we decided to mess with the pond a little bit and try to make it so that it looks better for longer. You know, just the things needed to do that. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. So I will see you guys after this is done. Okay, so I have the top, both sides, and the back all sealed. So then after that, now that they've all been sealed, I can get to the actual construction part of this, which will be what comes next after I carry all of these into the house and have to make room to put them all somewhere. But after that, it's good. In case you're wondering, for all of these, as well as the inside base, I used a mini wax polyacrylic crystal clear top coat. I did 2 on all of these, and then I followed it up with 1 more layer of the Rust-Oleum 2 times Clever Gloss, which seals, protects, and revitalizes wood, metal, and other things. So that's 2 layers, well actually 3 layers of sealant, which should be good to take care of this very, very large enclosure. And I'm also going to be sealing cracks with spray foam, and like I do with all my enclosures, I'm going to seal all the cracks with spray foam to hold in that humidity even further. But that's the base layer of just sealants. If you guys want to know what to use stuff like that, and if you can, even something like Flex Seal would do a good job, just because its seal is so powerful. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff I would use for that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's where we are right now. We have the 2 side pieces which we're about to attach. We have Anya. We got all these guys chilling, Popo chilling. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So our boards were 3 foot wide, as we suspected they needed to be. However, after we added the lip, there was a 1/2 inch now that we needed to cut off both these boards. There was also a 1/2 inch that we needed to cut off the 2x2s to make space for the boards to slide in. That is what you call a lesson in trial and error. What is trial and error? Trial and error is when you find out that sometimes you don't always do everything right. You try and you try, hence the trials. And then the error is you finding out you didn't do it right. Now, let me give you a quick segue real quick. Trial and error. Not only does that apply to building enclosures, that also applies to life. Sometimes you don't do everything you need to do, and if you do it, sometimes you don't do it right the first time. However, you cannot let that momentary mistake decide your relationship with failure. You have to let the nature of how existence works, you have to let it flow. You make mistakes, but usually they're not grave. It can be fixed, or it's something that isn't such a massive problem that it's gonna hurt things as a whole. Sometimes when you make a mistake, you accept it and you think, what can I do better to improve next time? And that is the way of life. We often make mistakes. Sometimes it's an enclosure that you cut the things a little bit too long, and now you have to grind things down. Or sometimes you don't do your homework on time, and now you have to grind to get it done. Or sometimes it's a college essay that you don't get in time, and you have to grind it. Sometimes it's work. Sometimes you've been there for 6 hours and you haven't gotten everything you need to do, so you have to grind it out in the last 2 hours. Or sometimes it can be a relationship. sometimes you don't make the right choices, but you also, there's an aspect of forgiveness there, but if not, then there's also acceptance that sometimes mistakes don't need to be remedied. Sometimes mistakes can just be mistakes. This is the way of life. Okay, so this is where we are right now. We are screwing on the sides and the back. A lot of pilot holes, a lot of nails. And unfortunately, not a lot of room to work with because this thing is absolutely huge. Freaking massive. I mean, there's the reptile room, like reptile shells behind me, and here is the singular tank, which I knew it would be pretty big. So, you know, I kind of expected this, but whew, in this room it's hard because the pond, the turtle pond's behind it, which takes away from most of the space we would have. But we're going to move the turtle tank next to my door, and we're going to put this against that wall, just in case, because you know the glass. If a door hits the glass, it's going to break. But if a door hits that giant freaking pond, it's not going to do anything, just because it's made of really hard, you know, plastic. All right, guys. So we just put a silicone caulking on each crack and crevice that we cut on the inside, and now we are going to put a wood coat over all the back sides to add some color, a little bit of that naturalistic. It's dark walnut. I think it'll look good. We're gonna try to add some other stuff in there to kind of add some visual flair. Most people that make enclosures for the specific animal that we're gonna get, theirs are kind of boring because, you know, I don't know why, honestly. But we're gonna make ours interesting looking. So, stay tuned. All right, so we've painted all of the walls with this nice color. I think it looks fantastic. I painted all the way down to the bottom. Obviously, you're not gonna see any of this on the bottom, so we didn't bother to paint it. Besides the inner lip, I painted that. I don't know why, but I did. So, there's that. So the next stage will be weaving in leaf litter and vines and other things in the background to add some visual flair to it. And I think once we do that, it'll look good. Tomorrow I will go and get stuff to help with the visuals of it. Get some cork stuff. Might end up getting the substrate tomorrow, I don't know, maybe. But I will be getting stuff for it regardless, and it will make it look nice. Okay, flash forward, we just bought some of the substrate. We have 5 bags of topsoil, 3 double wide bags of sphagnum peat moss, and 3 bags of all-purpose place sand. So that should fill up a lot of space, and of course, if it doesn't, we'll just get more of what we need to. But yeah, the substrate mix, and I also have a small bag of excavator clay to go in there too. All right, guys, so we added another layer. We added a top coat to the back. We did it using this right here, the Drylock floor and wall masonry waterproofer. It worked pretty well. It helped a lot. There's a little bit of gumminess with the stain at first, but putting that over top of it helped a lot to dry it out and make it smoother and feel a lot better to the touch and visually as well. So now what we're gonna do, which I'm not gonna show you exactly what we do here just because this is kind of a thing you can choose to do on your own. If you wanna do this, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. But we're gonna add some background decoration to the back of the enclosure. We're gonna add some fake trees, fake plants, to make it look more, you know, foresty and roomy and actually interesting, because most people, their enclosures are kind of dull. So we want to kind of actually go for something that looked neat. So we're gonna do something like that, and I'll fast forward to when we're done with that. I will show you this first. We have some tree vines, some fake leaves. We're gonna put them up towards the top and kind of, you know, sprawl them around a little bit to kind of give off that foresty vibe, because they're from environments with lots of plants and lots of trees. You know, human environments with a lot of jungle type stuff. So that's what we're gonna go for there. Next thing we'll show you is either putting on the top or putting in the substrate, but either way, you'll see it. So see you then. All right, guys, we're now gonna put the top. We're gonna put the top on here. And then after that, we're gonna add in the holes for the lights and the UVB and the heat and all that stuff. That'll be the thing that comes after, which that's not super hard. But right now, we're putting the top on. Okay, so the top is on now. And so now the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some caulking and I'm going to caulk, this part and all of the back there, because obviously I've already done the sides and everything. So that'll be the end of the ceiling. And then after that, the next thing will be adding in the lights and the UVB hooks and everything to hold the lights on. Have an enclosed top. So we're gonna be marking things around and seeing where we want things to go. And yeah, that's that. So what I need to do now is, since this is an inside, I've already put in this this Q screw. It'll hold the weight of the light. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna drill a hole back here. It's gonna come out of the top of the enclosure and it's gonna connect to this auto timer here. So we're gonna do that with both cords on the double heat, and then we're gonna do it with a heat emitter here. And then we're gonna do it with a few UVBs. And then since there are 8 slots on here, this should be able to cover every single light and heat source needed for this enclosure. So yeah, that is the next thing I'm gonna do.
Hey guys, so it's been a few days. I'm sick. Hey look, it's Kevin. Hi Kevin Lee. And Gigi. And Barry. Shimo's down there somewhere sleeping, but yeah. But anyway, we're gonna get back to working on the enclosure again. I just took some Dayquil, so I hope that'll clear me up a little bit, but I have just installed all the lights, so I'm going to show you those. So we got 2 basking bulbs, we have a UVB bulb, 2 ceramic heat emitters, another UVB bulb, and an LED light. I come over here, all I gotta do is press this button, and it's all on. I gotta get a bulb for this one before, but yeah, that's everything. These will be on at all times, and the rest of these are button activated and deactivated. So yeah. So the next steps are going to be adding the top and bottom to add the glass in. But before we do that, we're going to put in the substrate. So I'll show you guys us doing that next. All right, so we have our topsoil, play sand, our peat moss, and I have an extra bag of excavator clay, just cut. So now I'm going to start mixing all these together here in a second. And then that'll be the flooring.
All right, here's how it's looking now with the lights and the substrate. So as you saw, the substrate is sphagnum moss, topsoil, sand, and a slight bit of excavator clay. You put it all together, it's almost a foot tall, which is good because with the way these are hanging, I don't want potentially to touch them. But yeah, that's how it's looking right now. Hello everybody. So it's been a couple weeks since we've worked like really heavily on the project. But now we're working on the glass, the doors. You know, the important part of the visuals of inside. So, I'll show you what I've been doing here. So we got these track pieces. You can't get full 8 size pieces, so we got 4 4-feet pieces. And because bonding wood to plastic is not easy, we had to get a certain glue, and I've been using sanding bricks to sand all of the pieces. So basically, yeah, I'm sanding all 4 of these. I do a sideways and then a vertical, well, a horizontal, vertical, whatever you want to say. And then I'm going to glue them up, clamp them down. And then after that, we are going to start sliding the glass in there, which for this enclosure, we are not going to use plexiglass because these animals at their, you know, full-grown size, they're very powerful and they can easily destroy plexiglass. And we're not going to use regular full-on glass either because it's just freaking expensive as hell and everything else has already costed a lot. So we're gonna go with polycarbonate. Polycarbonate is pretty good material. It's stronger than plexiglass. It's not as strong as regular glass, but it is like nigh uncrackable and it's pretty durable. So I think that'll be good enough for the doors, and that's exactly what we're gonna use. So after we get these tracks put in there, we're gonna get the we're gonna have to measure the glass pieces and get the polycarbonate glass, and then we're gonna stick it in there.
Stick on there, so.
So I didn't document this part at first, but I want to get it just a little bit. Right now I'm building a basking platform, so I took this piece of plywood and I'm going to join them together with this board. So then the basking area will be about 4 square feet, and then I'm going to kind of boost that up a little bit so then it can be not only a basking platform, but then underneath it'll be a little hide area as well. All right, so now we have the hide/basking platform with this very large stone, weighed 90 pounds. Sucked to carry across the entire garden section of Home Depot. But got some rocks here, got leaves, got a little corkbark walkway there, got a water basin and a piece of driftwood. Sorry, my brain's fried, but I just woke up. I repainted over this part of the enclosure, and I put in all the light fixtures, everything like that. So now there's only a couple things left to do, which I have some leaf litter here. Might add some more rocks and leaves in here. But we got the windows today, so we're gonna be putting the windows in. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun time. Okay, so the glass has been added. As you can see, it moves pretty well. So now the next thing to do, we're gonna add some leaf litter. I got a 20-piece worth of leaf litter, but it barely covered any space. So we're gonna throw this gallon bag all throughout here to give the lizard a more nice flooring to move around, to make them feel more secure. I changed the light fixtures. I hung them a little bit closer to the basking spot so then we could better achieve the heat that we need to. So that's going well. So after this, we throw in the leaf litter. I purchased a misting system for this to keep the humidity up because it needs to be about 80 to 90%. And after we add the misting system and the leaf litter, that's it. That'll be the last bit of this enclosure and it'll be complete. All right, this is the tank with the leaf litter added. As you can see, it's all across there. I don't know if you can really see it on the camera, but it's also tucked back there in the hide for a little extra. And I put a bunch of water in the base, sprayed it on top, sprayed everything around. Right now humidity is at about 78. The thermometer is wrong. I had it over there, so it hasn't updated yet. It's about 130 in the basking spot, which you can see it's rising steadily. So that's how it's looking so far. All we need now is to get the misting system installed on the top to help with the humidity, and that's everything. We're pretty much done with the project as we speak. So hope you all have enjoyed this so far. It's been a very long video and a very long process to make this whole thing, but I'm super excited for it. We get the new lizard in be 2 weeks from when I'm recording this. I don't know how long it'll be from when you watch this, but basically got it all done. So I'm not gonna show the whole misting system thing. I mean, you don't need to watch that, but thank you all for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys for sticking around if you did and watching this really long video of us building this whole enclosure, putting the humidity in there, putting all the substrate, the basking rocks, the basking platform, all the lights, building the base, the waterproofing, just everything we did to make this. It's been a bigger project than, you know, any of these guys' enclosures, but it's been a really fun one and a really worthwhile one. And I'm super excited for you guys to see what is going to be put in here, which will be its own video. So thank you all for watching. I hope you had a wonderful time watching this video, and I hope you have a good day, and God bless you.